Hi, guys. Hope you're having a great evening. This is Fred and Sheila with Hatfield McCoy Museum Adventures and FS Investigates.
Hey guys, how you doing? We just got through watching the city council meeting in London.
Yeah, that was a doozy.
That was a knockdown drag out, wasn't it?
Law, that I was nervous and I wasn't even there.
I was trying to speak at the end of that video. We're having computer.
Oh my Lanta
stuff, but and what I was saying there is nobody wins. I worked for counties and cities for 40 years, and when you have that type of bickering and stuff going on between the people that's running the city, it's hard to get anything done for the city. Everybody loses, and they're all good people. I'm sure there's good in the mayor, the council. There's good in everybody. You got to look for it. London's under a lot of stress right now from transparency, and I agree with the audience. Transparency, and it seems like the state police has left the city out to dry. I mean, that's all you can say. They should have some kind of something to tell the people, a little bitty something, just to say, hey. But it's like it's a big secret, like they're seeing what. Well, guys, that story's what it is. It's in the record book. Sheila's got it posted on her website where we went live on that one. And if you missed the council meeting, you want to watch what happened, it's on there. The picture behind us, I also brought up at the end of that video, Johnny Edrington.
Right.
Again, the mics were off, so y'all didn't get to hear it. So we thought, hey.
Well, the mics was on, but the speakers in their laptop wasn't working.
But they couldn't hear what I said.
No. It was all messed up. I'm so sorry.
Guys, I want to ask you something. We'll get to this in a minute. I want to get to that. That's going to be interesting to some of you.
Okay.
That's a letter that was sent to Robert Foley at Kentucky State Penitentiary. Robert's on death row for killing at least 7 people that we know of. But I said before, I'm not going to let this, or we're not going to let Johnny Edrington case die. You know, I hear these state police, everybody says brotherhood. I watch these videos on YouTube where they have these memorials, and this is my brother. This is one of us. This is, well, if he is, get the case reopened. If he's your brother, if you really love that guy, if you really honor him and his service in the military and with the state police, let your actions speak louder than your words. Case needs to be reopened. I know you're going to say, oh, the case is open. No, the case is locked away in somebody's filing cabinet or they're safe so nobody can see it. Nobody's going to just knock on the door one day and say, hey, I just want to tell you I done that trooper in. That ain't going to happen. We're going to have to go find him. And Doug Asher from Harlan, Kentucky, who used to be the post commander of Post 11 there in London, wrote a book, and he says that this was an S-side, that this man committed S-side. 35 years after he's dead and gone, he comes out and writes a book and said, oh, it was an S-side. How dishonorable that can be with other people saying it was a homicide. Why is the case locked away in a file? Contacted the state police. This guy here contacted the state police after it happened. No one came out to talk to him. That makes 2 people. You're going to hear another one down through here. No one ever called him back or made contact. People were supposed to gave names of who did it. People were supposed to have admitted to doing it. This is not a hard case to solve. It's really not. Of course, you got to have the file from 35 years ago, 36 years ago now. Got to have something to go on. Who's got that? The Kentucky State Police. Now, I'll tell you where I'm at with this. I think if the Kentucky State Police is not going to investigate their own, If the Kentucky State Police is not going to try to find out who killed one of their troopers, then let's ask the Attorney General's office to look into this case. Appoint a couple of AG investigators to this case. You know, a lot of people that goes to the AG's office to work are state troopers after they retire from the Kentucky State Police. What better way for these investigators that probably worked with Johnny or during that time that he was there to honor him than to go out and solve his murder? You can do it. The AG's office. And how much respect that would earn the Attorney General's office here in Kentucky. The governor and Governor Beshear and Philip Burnett are like that. They're friends. See, sometimes friendship gets in the way of professionalism. Sometimes friendship and political support and appointed to certain positions get in the way of professionalism, of investigations. I know people don't like hearing that, but London's a very good example of it. He was the post commander in London. Asher was. That's where this took place, was London. London's got all kinds of history here, I'm finding out, since we've been working on the Johnny Edrington case and the Joseph Couch case and now the Doug Harless case.
Douglas Harless. Mm-hmm.
Goodness sakes, guys. I'm not going to go through the whole case with you. I'm not going to do that because we've got another video where we did it. But that file will have pictures of his vehicle. Now, in Doug Asher's book, Doug Asher says there was no scuffle, no sign of a scuffle. I unzipped the body bag and his uniform was pristine or in order,
yeah,
whatever the word he was. But yet everybody we've talked to, every newspaper article that was written back then just about says that there was a scuffle, signs of a scuffle.
Mm-hmm.
There were signs of a scuffle on the hood of his car. There would be pictures of that. There would be photographs of that. Johnny's uniform. They'll have his uniform. They'll have his shoes. Let's look for scuff marks. They'll have his gun belt. All this stuff will still be in evidence because, see, this case is still open, according to the Kentucky State Police. It may be locked away in a file, but in order that nobody can file for open records request, it's still open. That way they can say, oh, the case is still open. We're so sorry. We wish we could let you see the file, but we can't because the case is still open. Well, if this case is still open, then that uniform, that gun belt, that hat, that flashlight, that uniform, what else, babe? I might forget here. The shoes, anything that would have shown signs of a scuffle, would be in evidence. They've got it in a box in evidence. You know what do we have now that we didn't have in 1988? And I love it. We have DNA. Was there a struggle? Is somebody's hair?
Fingerprints?
Is there a hair on that uniform that's got DNA on it? Is there any of the buttons missing on his shirt?
That's a good point.
Is there any blood stains? Is there, besides his own? We have DNA now. Take that shirt and pants and let them analyze it. Look for DNA, look for hair, look for fibers, look for different things that may come from somebody else.
I wonder, though, do they lock up all the cases that they're still open?
Oh, yeah.
Are they all locked up like that? The cases that are open that they haven't solved?
Trooper, the captain, the retired captain that's on Amazon as a review says that the Johnny Edrington case, nobody has ever seen it except the one person. And she's talking about who's the commissioner of state police, the top guy. So that case is locked away, and the reason it's locked away is because they don't want nobody to see what it consists of.
Yeah, I was supposed to say why.
How are you going to solve a case if nobody's working the case, nobody's assigned to the case? We have information. What the heck are we supposed to do with it? We have information where people has called us that also called the state police 36 years ago and gave it to them. Never did a detective, 3 detectives assigned to this case, not one detective went and talked to these people. At least 3 people. At least 3. Asher says there was no sign of a scuffle. Everybody else says there's a sign of a scuffle. Need new eyes. Need new detectives. If the Kentucky State Police doesn't want to open that case and put fresh eyes on it from pertinent and relative and good investigators, don't say, well, we're going to open it up and give it to your guy right out of the academy. Can't do that. You're going to have to give it to somebody that doesn't care to step on toes,
Seasoned.
somebody that doesn't care to ask questions, somebody that doesn't care about rumors. Rumors. All these people were concerned about rumors back then. Shucks, if you're concerned about rumors, solve the... Don't want to cuss. I know I almost got ready to cuss. That's the first time in a long time.
No.
Solve the case. If you solve the case, you've solved the rumors. That would have been a motivation for me. A rumor, I would have said, hey, I'll stop this rumor. I'll show them. Sorry, guys. This is this case can be solved.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm upset. This case can be solved. I hear these troopers talk about, oh, he's one of our own. Oh, he's our brother. Okay, show us. Kentucky State Police, show us. Show us how much you care about your fellow troopers. What if this was you? Would you want your fellow troopers to come around and solve the case for you? Or would you want to go down in history to your child and now your grandchildren as, well, he may have committed S-side. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. The evidence says otherwise. The little bit of evidence that Sheila and I have uncovered, the little bit of evidence that we have found from talking to people.
Yeah. There's...
What better tribute? Heard them say on one of the videos, we want to make a tribute to Johnny. If you want to make a tribute to him, find his murderer.
His family would appreciate that.
This case can be solved. Needs fresh eyes. If you can't solve it, give it to another agency that can. If you're that incompetent, Kentucky State Police, that you can't solve the case of one of your own, give it to somebody else. Give it to somebody else. And the Attorney General's office, if they don't give it to you, you should be asking for it. I'm going to write a written request to the Attorney General's office here in Kentucky and ask them to look into this. So they'll have a written request on file so they can't say, well, we didn't know about it. We don't watch YouTube videos. And I would ask everybody out there to do the same. Contact the Kentucky State Police and contact the Attorney General's office here in Kentucky and tell them that we want to know who killed Johnny Edrington, state trooper, an Army veteran. Light colored truck.
We've heard that.
You know, sometimes we say things on here because Sheila and I are fishing. And that's what you do as investigators and detectives. You could take a couple of good state police detectives or a couple of good Attorney General's office investigators. Guys, you can solve this case. You can be the cream of the crop. You can be the... What a case. What a case. 36-year-old case. And you go out here and solve it. Should want to solve it just for that man there. But if it takes the... I know as a young cop how I was. I wanted to solve every case coming and going. I liked doing that. Someone Johnny knew. It was someone he knew. This was not a traffic stop. That's mine and Sheila's take.
Right.
From what we think. We could be
From what
wrong.
we've been
That's
told.
wrong. We don't care. We don't care if it's a traffic stop. We don't care if it's somebody we know that he knew. But somebody knows about this. Somebody knows who killed him if they're still alive. News media, we challenge you. We challenge you. We're going to get to this in a minute. Maybe you can help on this. Didn't call a traffic stop in. He didn't call the traffic stop in because he knew the person. He knew the people that pulled in there beside him. That's why he didn't call the traffic stop in. why he didn't have his hat on. The trooper's not going to get out of his car and make a traffic stop without his hat on, unless somebody just stopped, jumped out real fast before he had a chance to get it. Go ahead, baby, if you got anything there.
No. Just everything.
The suicide was almost, and Sheila will tell you this, from her experience, from her non-law enforcement experience, it was two-staged.
Yeah.
It looked so good.
It was too perfect.
The suicide looked so perfect
Mm-hmm.
that it looked staged. Is that possible? I don't know. Is it? You people that live in London and Laurel County, is it? With all the questions that's going on right now, all the questions that Joseph Couch was found 500 feet over an embankment where the media was at 2 or 3 days before, and that they've searched 28,000 acres and the man's over the hill. You could throw a rock. I'm sorry. Guys, baby, I don't care. If it takes getting mad to get it solved,
Yeah.
if it takes being a butthole to get it solved, uniform. Here it is written again.
Mm-hmm.
Uniform is the key. A key.
What did the ground look like?
Allowed
Was
the same
ground-
detectives, allowed the same 3 detectives that called it a suicide within 2 or 3 hours of Asher coming back and meeting with them at the post and said, "What do you think, gentlemen?" That's what he says in his book. "What do you think, gentlemen?" Suicide. S side. 2 or 3 hours after your fellow trooper has been a veteran of the United States Army, is found dead beside of his cruiser, working his shift. And right off the bat, before any investigation, before anything's, you right off the bat, well, yep, it's a S side. He's done himself in. Yep. Really? I don't believe it. Prove Fred McCoy wrong. I don't care if you prove me wrong or not. We want the truth. We want to know. Asher, Kentucky State Police captain of Post 11 in London, went on to become a lieutenant colonel in the Kentucky State Police. 30 years of honorable career. The big gray cover up. That's the title of this chapter that he put in his book. The big gray cover up. This is an executive with the Kentucky State Police, and he puts a chapter in his book called The Big Gray Cover Up. Wow. What does that say about that big gray agency? What does that say about that professional agency that's supposed to be the cream of the crop? And they can't solve a murder of their own, or they don't want to solve. Maybe they don't want to solve. Hypothetically, opinion. Maybe they don't want to solve it. Could that be? I don't know. I've never seen nobody work harder at not. They got the same 3 detectives that says it's a suicide that's supposed to go talk to these people when they call these tips in, and none of them said they was ever talked to. Why? Yeah. If you're calling something a suicide, would you want to go talk to somebody that could give you information that may prove otherwise? Are you that egotistical that I've done called it a suicide. I don't want to.
S side.
S side. I'm sorry, babe.
That's okay.
You got Robert Foley in prison. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Rule them in or rule them out.
Yeah.
Was no one ever been charged? Hide the case away in a filing cabinet. I'm not going to make this a long video. If there's one iota that this man wasn't S side, it should have never been brought up. You should have never disdained, should have never put that notion even out there that it could have been, if there's no more evidence than that, with the man serving honorably in the United States Army with the honorable discharge. Anybody ever hear of Ronald Lee Bolin? Google Kentucky State Penitentiary. Google death row. Google Robert Foley. Google Ronald Lee Bolin. They're both on death row. They're both from the London and Clay County area.
Yeah.
Ronald Lee Bolin's on death row because in 88 and 89, he was going around to convenience stores and killing people, robbing them. Wait a minute. Johnny got killed in 88. Wonder if he knew anything about that. Wonder if he happened up on him. We don't know. Guys, we don't know. But they're on death row. They're not hard to find for those news media out there, those great investigators that we brag on, because the news media has better detectives than the Kentucky State Police. I can tell you that. They have better detectives than a lot of police agencies. Said here that Foley passed the polygraph. Did he? We don't know. We don't have the file. But it would be on file. The log sheets would be on file. I'm passing up a bunch of stuff here because I'm not going to go over it.
Mm-hmm.
Steroids may explain people's verbal abuse, and that's another topic. The only way to stop is show we got to change our conduct. Kentucky State Police and other agencies have to change. One strike and you're out. When police officers mess up, we've got to start getting rid of them. Substandard troopers for a job that pays $67,000 a year starting out, and we have to keep taking them over and over and letting them be repeat. All right.
Okay.
Guys,
And what about the letter?
Well, let me see this right here real fast.
Okay. Take your time. It's all good.
It may be the actions speak louder than words, locked away. Okay. Guys, we sent this letter here a couple weeks ago to Robert Foley, Kentucky State Penitentiary, 2664 or something like that, Water Street, Eddyville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And the letter says, Robert, my name's Fred McCoy. My wife Sheila and I have been researching the death of KSP Trooper Johnny Edrington. We were wondering if you had any valid information on Trooper Edrington's death that may be helpful in determining if Trooper Edrington's death was a S-side or a homicide. Not sure if you're allowed visitors while on death row, but if so, Sheila and I would like to visit you with some questions. We also have concerning FBI agents Mark Putnam and Ron Poole. That's two of the FBI agents that I worked with in Pike County back in the 80s. Ron Poole went on to get Robert Foley on probation and get him out of jail, where he went on to kill 6 more people while he was an informant for the FBI. Mark Putnam went on to kill his pregnant informant so she wouldn't tell his wife she was pregnant. If we are unable to meet with you in person, we'd certainly appreciate your response via mail. Sincerely, Fred and Sheila McCoy.
Yeah.
That's the letter that we sent to Robert Foley. Now, we got this back yesterday, and it says refuse.
Yeah. Return to sender.
Return to sender, refuse. Now, was it refused by Robert Foley? Because the letter had been opened and scotch taped back. Which is normal for a jail or a prison to read the prisoner's mail. But did they read the mail and just send it back and put refused? Because I've tried to call. I've made several calls to Kentucky State Penitentiary, and I don't do nothing but get recordings. I've not talked to a live person yet. Why is that? I leave messages. I tell them what I want, what we're inquiring about, Robert Foley, and about Trooper Edrington's death and so forth. Nobody returns our calls. Why is that? I would have to agree with that. What's Asher's? Doug. I would have to agree with that, Captain or Colonel Doug Asher. Big gray cover up. I'd have to agree with your title of that chapter. Big gray cover up, because that's what it's looking like more and more. guys, we're asking for your help, not for us. Not for us. Once upon a time, there was a $50,000 reward. I don't know if that reward is still good. It was from the Kentucky State Police.
Mm-hmm.
He still wanted their troopers.
Right.
They still want to make a tribute to him, so it's probably still good. Sheila and I don't want no reward. This is not for a reward. So anybody that helps, or if there's anything given out there, somebody else can have it.
Yeah.
It's not about the reward to us. But we would ask any decent person out there, especially from London and Laurel County, this was your trooper. He worked for you. We ask you to write letters, make phone calls to the Kentucky State Police in Frankfort, Philip Barnett Jr. Don't know how much good that's going to do, but that's who it is. That's the commissioner. And make phone calls and write letters to the Attorney General's office like I'm going to do tomorrow. I will send them a letter tomorrow asking them to take over this case from the Kentucky State Police and see what they can find out. And if a bunch of you guys will do the same, as little as picking up a phone and making a call,
Mm-hmm.
or sending a letter or an email, you can help. Let's find out who killed this guy.
Mm-hmm. Give his family closure.
Give his family closure. Let's find out who killed him. Let's dig all that evidence. Bring all that evidence out of that locker room. Let's send this uniform to the lab. Let's let them go over that uniform with a fine-tooth comb, see if anything at all shows that there was a scuffle. I'm sorry, babe. I didn't let you get...
Oh, it's all good.
in.
No worries. No worries. I have no worries at all. I do hope that it does come out and it is solved so his daughter and grandchildren can, and his wife can have some closure.
You know, we was talking to a person the other day, and they said that when his daughter went to school, they pulled her to the side and told her that you might hear rumors. We'll tell you now, you don't have to believe everything you hear and all that taken up. And now you've got grandchildren. And with Doug Asher's book and with that chapter about S side,
Mm-hmm.
now you've got at least two grandchildren that I think they've got.
Mm-hmm.
How can we dishonor somebody any more than that? He's buried with honors. He's a military veteran.
Honorably discharged.
Every year in May, police law enforcement Memorial Week, they pay tribute to their trooper. They all gather around looking good in them uniforms, talking about their brother. If that was my brother, I'd want his murder solved. These guys are not stupid. These are state troopers. They work for the same guy. I don't know. May have been even a trooper when this went on. Philip Burnett wouldn't have had nothing to do. He wasn't stationed at London Post, from what I understand, if he was a trooper then. I think he's been a trooper no, he's not been a trooper that long. That's 36 years ago. I think he's just been a trooper about 28 years. So he would have been a kid then. That's all I got, babe. Guys, let's solve this case.
Please. Everybody come together and solve it.
Media, Lee Searcy, 27 Media, 56, Fox 56, all you all, Herald Leader, Louisville Carrier Journal. You've got the investigators. Bob, I can't think his name now. I think he's from Somerset. He's been with the Herald Leader for as long as I can remember. He covered when we turned the sheriff in Pike County in for corruption back in the 80s. Bob, daggone it, can't think of his name.
I don't.
But you guys can set up an interview. Go see Bob Foley. Go see
Ronald
Lee Boland.
Mm-hmm.
Go see them and ask them, guys, what can you tell us? If they can't tell you nothing, rule them out.
Yeah.
If they say don't know nothing, they're on death row. Do they have a lot to lose from telling the truth? If you treat them right, they're liable to just come clean and say, hey, here's what happened. Or they might say, don't know a thing about it.
Can't help you. Yeah.
That's it.
Don't know. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We hope you're staying warm. Having a good evening. Please like, subscribe, and share. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you, guys.
God bless.
God bless.